Welcome back, 623. As gas prices continue to be top of mind here in our country, there's also a lot of talk about completely banning the purchase of Russian oil.
Well, let's bring in our Joe St. George now to break down what would really happen if all Russian oil imports were banned. Good morning, Joe.
Hey, good morning, guys. To some degree, this is a numbers game for the White House. And remember, in the early days of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the president was reluctant to penalize the Russian energy sector, fearing a major spike in gas prices, a major impact to the global markets when it comes to energy. Instead, the president elected to impose other stricter, more severe economic sanctions on oligarchs in Russia, billionaires and businesses in Russia. But there has been a dramatic shift here on Capitol Hill in the last 48 hours, 72 hours, really in a bipartisan way to ban Russian oil. So how much are we talking about here? According to the American Fuel and Petrochemical Trade Association, the U.S. imports around 209,000 barrels of crude a day from Russia. That may sound like a lot. It was only about 3% of total imports a few years back. Some have reported a slightly higher number, but this isn't a drastically high figure. This isn't 40, 50, 60% of American crude. So the question for Democrats and Republicans is, can it be found elsewhere? If you ask conservatives in Colorado, they say yes, it can if the president encourages more domestic energy production. There are progressives on Capitol Hill who say it can be replaced by a stronger push towards renewable energy, such as wind and solar. But look for movement on this today, guys. Bloomberg is reporting that a decision has been made on this. An announcement could come as soon as today. We have not been able to independently confirm that right now, but certainly there's a growing consensus here on Capitol Hill that something must be done.
All right, thank you, Joan. Before you do go, Congress is working to avert a government shutdown as well this week by passing a new spending package.
Yeah, so do you think a shutdown is likely? And if spending does pass, where will the money go, and would any be going to Ukraine?
Yeah, a lot of people in southern Colorado are paying attention to where the money is spent in Washington. How is it spent? To answer your questions about the likelihood of a shutdown, it's very unlikely. Republicans and Democrats don't want this in these extreme volatile times in our economy. But in terms of spending, we have some numbers showing where President Biden, what he wants. He wants $22.5 billion to help fight this next phase of the pandemic, continue free testing for people. Additionally, the president wants increased vaccine distribution around the world to prevent future variants. New reporting this morning suggests the president won't get that full number. It's going to be negotiated down to try to attract more conservative support who believe it's too high. On the Ukraine front, $10 billion is what President Biden wants and has asked Congress for to help with the humanitarian effort in Eastern Europe. Senator Chuck Schumer telling reporters yesterday that number will actually probably be a bit higher when it's all said and done, maybe $12 billion or so. There's certainly bipartisan consensus to help Ukraine and Eastern Europe during these difficult times.
Absolutely. Thank you. Joe St. George live for us in our nation's capital.